I'm excited to talk to you tonight about this great topic. I'm a little bit early if you're catching live. I had something pop up on my calendar, but I am super pumped to tell you about CBD. It was something I wasn't very sure about prior to Young Living introducing it. And it's maybe something you've seen a lot of around at almost anywhere these days, at the gas station. You hear about it on people's Instagram feeds about the gummy they take or this or that. So I'm hoping that we can get some clarification around CBD just in and of itself, what it is, why it would be important, why sourcing matters, all of those things. We'll cover those topics, but also we'll highlight some of the stuff that Young Living offers. So because we've got a lot of ground to cover, we're just going to dive right in to all things CBD. It's not just a fad. It's, even though we are seeing it in all these random places, it's becoming a staple in many people's lives and in their world. And so we're going to kind of dive into some of the science behind it, but don't get overwhelmed by it. It's actually not that difficult to figure out or sort out, and then also figure out how you can then incorporate it into your own health goals. Keep in mind, I'm not a doctor, not a scientist, not a researcher. I'm not prescribing or advising for you in any particular capacity. And when it comes to CBD, especially, there are some contraindications or some reactions or interactions that happen between certain drugs and CBD. So you're going to want to make sure if CBD is if you have medicine that you are taking consistently and it's something you have to take for your own health, that you're going to want to check with your healthcare provider and make sure that those drugs that you take are not going to be interfering, that CBD wouldn't be interfering with those. So make sure you check that out, read and research those things. You can even Google that information. So there's a quick way of welcome. I love CBD. I mean, I brought a few of my favorite products into my office today to give this call. The CBD muscle rub is one of my favorites. We'll talk about it later, but I've been using the CBD products since Nature's Ultra became a part of Young Living, and just have really loved them, really love the products. So what is CBD? First and foremost, it's not marijuana. They're both from the same plant, the cannabis plant or the hemp plant. But they are from different varieties of that hemp plant. Marijuana is produced when the hemp plant is grown without the male variety present. So the resin produced from the small hair-like appendages called trichomes of all female plants is full of THC, which produces the psychoactive effects associated with marijuana. CBD, cannabidiol, is a natural substance from another variety of hemp, and it's produced when the hemp plant is grown with both the female and the male plant present. And the resin product is full of CBD, which does not contain the same heavy psychoactive effects as THC, and only has small trace amounts of THC in it. So historically, why would CBD be illegal or be considered bad? And we all know that, or maybe you don't know, but there was a Farm Act that was passed recently. But CBD, cannabidiol, that's a mouthful. CBD is a natural substance from the hemp plant. So hemp originated in Asia and the Middle East thousands of years ago and has since spread worldwide. It showed up in the US back in the 16th century. And in fact, farmers used to be fined if a certain percentage of their production or land wasn't hemp plants, because of how incredibly useful the plant can be. Hemp is used for paper, food, fiber, construction materials, clothes, and other products. And the reason in those times why it was so important, it was also used in sailing to make the really strong rope and sometimes even the sails. So it's a really highly sought after item, especially in that time period. So what changed about it? In the 1920s, a negative war in the media was raged against hemp/marijuana due to financial reasons. And it was eventually deemed a Schedule I controlled substance. This category is for substances that have no benefit, Schedule I, no benefit, and have a high potential for abuse. However, in July 2018, CBD was downgraded from a Schedule I controlled substance to a Schedule V controlled substance, meaning that it has some benefits and the potential for abuse is low. The FDA changed the category so that a drug containing CBD called Epidiolex could be sold. So, it's just interesting to see how whoever's sometimes our experience in watching things, especially in the United States and in other countries as well, but US especially, that politics can inform a lot of what gets okayed and what doesn't. And then finally, in December 2018, CBD went from a Schedule 5 controlled substance to an unscheduled substance due to the Hemp Farming Act of 2018, which removed hemp, defined as cannabis with less than 0.3% THC. And that's an important point to say it's less than 0.3% THC as a controlled substance. So this means that federal law made CBD legal in all 50 states. And even up until maybe just a year ago, like the last state or two was finally pulled back its state ban against CBD. So all 50 states, it's cleared, ready to go. So you should just know that this is like kind of a new thing. So that's maybe why it feels like suspicious that it's just showing up everywhere. And part of that's because it's new-ish in the sense of how long it's been not under some sort of classification of the government. So we get that. So the endocannabinoid system, or the ECS or the EC system, is a biological system composed of endocannabinoids, which they're lipid-based retrograde neurotransmitters that bind cannabinoid receptors. So there's a CB1 and CB2. And cannabinoid receptor proteins that are expressed through the vertebrae central nervous system. So that includes the brain and peripheral nervous system. And that's a lot of big scientific terminology to say. In layman's term, the ECS is linked to your central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system to help the body maintain homeostasis. So in a general sense, homeostasis, as we talk about often, refers to stability or balance in a system. So it's the body's attempt to maintain a constant internal environment. Maintaining a stable internal environment requires constant monitoring and adjustment as conditions change. If the body gets out of homeostasis, the ECS sends out natural endocannabinoids. So these are things that your body produces, and enzymes to regulate the body and bring it back into homeostasis. For example, when you get too hot, your ECS kicks into gear and you start to sweat, helps bring your body temperature down. If you get too cold, you shiver. When you're hungry, your stomach growls and it sends you, when you're thirsty, when you need water, your body tells you you're thirsty. When you get tired, you yawn. So these are all, the CBD primarily interacts with the ECS, that endocannabinoid system, making it a highly sought after product through Young Living. So it's addressing this homeostasis concept. So then let's talk about THC versus CBD. Now that you know what the ECS does, homeostasis, balance, think about that. Let's look at the difference between THC and CBD in regards to the cannabinoid receptors, the CB1 and CB2 receptors. CB1 receptors are in the central nervous system, the brain and nerves of the spinal cord. And CBD2 receptors are found all over the body in the peripheral nervous system. So nerves in your extremities, the digestive system, and specialized cells in the immune system. THC acts on CB1 and CB2, THC. When they attach to CB1 in the brain, it causes the intoxicating effects that are experienced with, cannabis, marijuana, hashish, all those things. It also affects the peripheral nervous system when it attaches to CBD2, which is why some people smoke marijuana to feel calmer or to decrease pain. It also is why cancer patients receiving chemotherapy are prescribed medical marijuana, because the effects on the digestive system can also help prevent nausea. It's important to note that exposure to THC does have its risks, such as developing schizophrenia, failure of a drug test, obviously, or participation of illegal activity based on your state's, and we know that more and more states are taking marijuana off of the table, but there are many states that still have it as an illegal drug. And some people are genetically more sensitive to THC, as well as marijuana can can be addictive, right? You can begin to, your brain and your body chemistry can begin to rely on it and need it and have that addictive effect. CBD does not bind directly to either of those receptors, but it instead impacts them indirectly by modifying the receptor's ability to bind to cannabinoids. So these indirect actions include activating another receptor called the TRPV1, which is an integral part in the endocannabinoid system. So if you want a CBD isolate, then Nature's Ultra through Young Living is a really great product, and it's really valuable to be able to have the impacts of those reacting with the CBD1 or CB1 and CB2 receptors without having those psychoactive, and the assurance and peace of mind that there is actually no THC in it. So now pause on that. We're going to jump ship to a whole other concept of terpenes, which maybe this isn't new to you because there have been many posts about terpenes in Essential Ed. And so if you're not sure, maybe go Google that, or go do a quick search in the Essential Ed thing and do terpenes. But terpenes give plants their aroma. The fragrant imprint of each plant is a result of different combinations of terpenes. So cannabis is unique that each strain has a unique profile of terpenes. Terpenes are believed to have many positive effects on the body. These properties can act independently as well as in addition to what cannabinoids offer. There are several known and studied terpenes that all exhibit different medicinal effects. Overall, terpenes contribute to the medicinal properties of cannabis, a phenomenon known as the entourage effect. Think of a team of players versus a single player. The team is the entourage effect of the terpenes plus the cannabinoids. So you're getting the double effect of the medicinal qualities of the terpenes alongside the good benefits of the cannabinoid. Where else have we heard of terpenes? We know and love them and use them daily. Our essential oils, terpenes that have multiple positive effects, are also found in all of our essential oils. Again, if it's a thing that gives plants their aroma, that should give you a sense of where you would know terpenes from, especially as it pertains to essential oils. So how do you differentiate which CBD should you be using? This Nature's Ultra product line? What about the gummies I see over here? Or what about the thing that one influencer I follow mentioned that she uses in her melatonin supplement or something like that? What about this? What's the difference? There's a lot of chaos when it comes to the availability of CBD. There are just so many things you can choose from. Quality is an important factor, and it's something we talk about often when it comes to essential oils, but it's something I really emphasize when it comes to CBD. There's many considerations when you think about this. There's the full spectrum CBD, there's isolate CBD, and then there's smart spectrum CBD. So full spectrum CBD still has some trace THC in it. So while you won't get the psychogenic effects of straight THC as if you were having marijuana, there is still the possibility of exposure to THC. So it's also important to note that hemp is a phytoremediator. It's a phytoremediator. Phytoremediation is nature's way of using living plants to clean the soil and the groundwater. So it is, people will use, not only is hemp a great product back then, but it was also a great way to remedy the soil, the problems that were going on. It absorbs chemicals and toxins from the soil, and traces of heavy metals absorbed from the soil may be left behind in a full spectrum product. But some people gravitate towards a full spectrum CBD because it contains terpenes and many more compounds. Thus, it delivers that entourage effect we were talking about, right? The terpenes plus the cannabinoid. And when you put those together, so that some people, well, I'll get the full spectrum because it helps with that. Well, you're still getting the potential exposure to this remediation process that the hemp goes through. The other way to produce CBD would be to do an isolated form, CBD isolate. CBD, it's pure CBD. And while it has 0% THC, no heavy metals or other compounds, it also has no terpenes, and it therefore loses that entourage effect that's lost when you get rid of those terpenes and you just have full CBD. So remember what else we talked about that has terpenes? Essential oils. So when we add them to a CBD isolate, we add essential oils to a CBD, then we create that synergistic effect and thereby increase the CBD isolate. So we get that entourage effect by adding terpenes from essential oils, and boom. Nature's Ultra, with the help of Young Living Essential Oils, has done that. And they've combined those CBD isolate, so you can have that 0.0% THC certainty and not have concern about what else might be in it. And then you combine that with the essential oils, and boom, you get that smart spectrum CBD that is the product that you want. So are you still with me? I hope you're still with me. CBD is labeled for topical use. First, you would clean the area, pat it dry, and then you massage a generous amount topically into your skin. Don't exacerbate the area, but give it a firm rub, and then apply a second or third time if needed. Some places you could consider putting it on your temples, your neck, elbows, knees, or other joints, especially when you think about the muscle rub, the soles of your feet, the back of the heel or foot, the shoulders. You could even have it as part of a back massage, or put it along your spine if you have somebody that can help you do that. If you're new or sensitive to oils, or you're not sure, maybe you want to start with Nature's Ultra regular strength CBD, and you can even use half the recommended amount and increase it as you read your body and notice things. Once you're more experienced, you may want to try the extra strength product or see how that goes. And while it's meant to be used topically, I want to give a few things to keep in mind, excuse me, in regard to CBD safety. It's broken down in the liver, and it's done by the same enzymes that a lot of pharmaceutical drugs are broken down by. So it's possible for your system to get a little overworked trying to break down too many things at once. So again, this is where I want you to I suggest you go consult your physician before you're looking at any implementation of CBD into your routine. The other thing I do want to mention about CBD is that it's like there's an onboarding period. It's a crescendo. And just like any sort of supplement in your life, you wouldn't expect, oh, I took a vitamin C supplement last week. How did I get sick? Or how come it's not helping me get over my sickness this week? The expectation would be that you would have to consume it for it to work. Well, the same thing applies with CBD. It has its best effect in its onboarding 20 to 30 days after daily use. So you will see some of the effects of that, the terpenes present in the oils and the CBD, but to get the full effect of the CBD product, you want to use it consistently, and you want to keep using it while you're needing it for whatever particular issue you're facing. So that's just worth noting. It's something you would want to incorporate into your routines. So it's really great to consider that it, of course, is organic, higher than organic, non-GMO. It's seed to seal certified, as with anything that comes from Young Living, rigorously tested. And even, on each product line, you can see a QR code, and you can follow, what shipment it was and what the product testing looked like. And you can see the results of that, the testing of that batch. High quality CBD that you can trust is safe and legal and has 0.0% THC, tested to like a really, really, really high level. And it's vegan approved and gluten-free. So no animal byproducts, plus a commitment to never perform any animal testing. So that's an important thing to note about Nature's Ultra. It's a farm it's out of Colorado, and beautiful. There's some really cool videos on Nature's Ultra stuff. You can YouTube or look at, but it's really neat to see their farming practices and their commitment. It was such a good pairing with how Young Living operates, and I was so happy to see it. So Calm Roll-On is one consideration. Now, one thing I don't have an updated slide to show the Soothe, but Soothe was also one. I like to, Calm, we'll talk first, is infused with eucalyptus, frankincense, lavender, orange vetiver, and ylang ylang. 2 strengths, 300 and 600. Now, when you see the strengths, what you're getting is the strength of the entire bottle. It wouldn't be one application, would be 300. The entire roll on is 300 milligrams. And this one, the entire thing is 500 milligrams. So that's worth just pointing out. So you know about how much you're getting. This reminds me of the scent of this essential oil Tranquil. And so if you like that roll on, here it is with CBD. And so I think you'd enjoy it. It's really great for the stress of the day, helping calm, good to put on your wrist before you're going to bed, maybe put on here if you're feeling stressed out. It's just really easy to pop that out of your purse or your bag. Soothe has the smart spectrum of peppermint, copaiba, and 4 types of eucalyptus. And Soothe to me smells a lot like Breathe Again, maybe like a little bit different because of the 4 eucalyptus. Actually, I think that's what's in Breathe Again. So this reminds me of Breathe Again. If you like that as a product, then Soothe is going to be one you're going to want to grab. It also comes in the 300 or 600 milligram size and would be great for that. Joint and muscle rub. This is one of my favorites. It is one that you can just it's one that I like to layer with any sort of even bruising or joint discomfort, any of that. And I've given this to several people who have loved it and sworn by it and asked for more because they thought it was so beneficial. People are experiencing a lot of like pain, just general pain, and this would be a good way to help them solve that. It's got cool mint, citrus. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. It's a really good one. It's got camphor, clove, helichrysum, lemon, peppermint, tea tree, wintergreen, and more. And they work together. And I feel like this is one of those things you put it on and then you feel its effect like 10 minutes later. Like it's nice, but then it just keeps going. So I really love it. It's a great one. CBD oils. These come in cool mint, citrus, and cinnamon. And they've got this convenient dropper with markers on it. And there's a 500 and a 1000. The cool mint contains peppermint and spearmint. The citrus contains grapefruit and orange, and cinnamon bark, essential oil. So it's really, really awesome consideration. Now, there's a lot of things that you could use CBD for. And in the interest of keeping this less than 45 minutes, I just wanted to make sure we covered some of the how CBD works and whatever, but people have used it to help with mood, to help with focus, to help with skin issues, to help with just anxiety, and those kinds of things. So I'm going to share a link in here of an article of what ways that CBD can be used. And I'd love, if this is a topic that's interesting to you, I'd love for you to like check it out, because there's just so many options. You can actually also Google this as it's become more and more widespread. You could just, the benefits of CBD, you can Google that and you can see some of it. But having this smart spectrum where a product that if it's a soil remediator, then we need to make sure we're using the very best. So you get that 0.0% THC plus the purest form of it. And then on top of it, you add the terpenes of the essential oils and you get that smart spectrum CBD, which you can't find anywhere else. So I hope you'll consider CBD, give it a try for those things that maybe, again, check with your healthcare provider before you do that, especially if you're on any sort of consistent med, but definitely see how these can be incorporated into your life, and let us know if you have your own testimonial on ways that CBD have helped you. All right, I'll catch you next week.